From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,522. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon continues to offer official civilian death tolls from the U.S. air war in Iraq and Syria that is only a tiny fraction of the killings documented by private non-government organizations, but even this deliberate undercount is rising at a growing rate, reflecting what is in reality a precipitous spike in civilian deaths. The last report from early May only confirmed 23 civilians killed in the entire first quarter of 2017. That's been revised upwards to 128 as the Pentagon finally admitted to killing 105 civilians in a March 17th incident in Mosul. All indications from independent sources are that the Mosul incident actually killed around 220 people. The Pentagon added another 27 civilian deaths in their new report, which includes April, with almost all of those deaths also happening in Mosul. This once again is far below the many hundreds reported killed everywhere else, but dramatically more than the single-digit monthly tolls they usually admit to. This increase thus really isn't so much them getting closer to being honest about the toll, since they were virtually obliged to finally include the Mosul death toll after publicly admitting to it, but the fact that even their fake numbers are spiking suggests they are at least aware of the trend. Many figures will be particularly important as there were multiple huge incidents of civilian deaths in both Iraq and Syria attributed to U.S. airstrikes, with hundreds being killed on a weekly basis in the air war. It will be increasingly difficult for the Pentagon to keep its false figures low enough to brag about how careful they are about civilian deaths. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Office of Government Ethics is asking the White House to clarify a number of procedural waivers it granted to staffers amid questions about whether President Donald Trump's administration may have violated federal ethics rules. OGE Director Walter Schaub Jr. said on Friday his office will seek more information about 10 of the 14 conflict of interest waivers the White House disclosed this week that enabled executive staff members to interact with former employers and clients after they took office. The OGE is interested in the 10 waivers because they were undated and unsigned, meaning they could have been issued retroactively and not approved beforehand by White House lawyers. White House counsel wrote in one of the waivers, "I am issuing this memorandum retroactive to January 20th, 2017. In a report by the New York Times, Schwab said there's no such thing as a retroactive waiver. If you need a retroactive waiver, you have violated the rules. Among the White House's 14 ethics waivers was a blanket release that permitted appointees to communicate with news organizations about policy matters after Trump took office, which critics say could be an after-the-fact effort to clear senior advisor and former Breitbart news chief Steve Bannon of interactions he purportedly had with his former news outlet after January 20th. Trump previously had Bannon sign an ethics pledge that barred him from interacting with Breitbart for 2 years. Other administration members also signed the pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports 3 former Pennsylvania State University officials were sentenced to jail on Friday for covering up ex-coach Jerry Sandusky's sexual predation and effectively letting him victimize more boys. In sentencing all 3 men for child endangerment, Judge John Bocabella in Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas also harshly criticized the late revered football coach Joe Paterno for failing to alert authorities. Former university president Graham Spanier, former athletic director Timothy Curley, and former vice president Gary Schultz were accused of covering up a 2001 complaint filed by then grad student Michael McQueary. Sandusky is serving 30 to 60 years in prison after he was convicted in 2012 of sexually abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.